So Sam made another video on 3 levels of wealth, but this time I'm going to be telling you my honest opinion on his own thoughts of 3 levels of wealth of Bitcoin and what exactly is going on with Bitcoin. There is a lot of potential if you guys want to be kept up to awesome content. You know what to do. You know where the like button is. Click it, and if you don't like my channel, you can always unsubscribe later.
Talking about the Bitcoin levels of wealth. What does it mean to have 0.01 Bitcoin? Well, today it means you have about $400 worth of an asset that...
Imagine if you had 0.1 of Bitcoin on the forums 2013. People would laugh at you because you don't have enough. And probably would tell you to buy more because it would be worth, what, about 1 cent? At that time, depends where you bought it, obviously. But now it's worth about $400, which might not seem like a lot. But I definitely think 0.1 Bitcoin... or 0.01 Bitcoin is still undervalued in that sense. Like, there is probably going to be seeing more rises, but just imagine you own 1/100th of a Bitcoin that went through history, probably went through so many transactions, went through so many places in time, and that's where I really feel like people will start to appreciate it more, to see all these bull run price hikes.
People on Earth have no idea what it is. About a tenth of the people are super bullish on.
So yeah, most people haven't actually discovered Bitcoin yet. And here he gives a very good explanation. If you give 1 million people 0.02 Bitcoin, which is $800, that's 20,000 Bitcoin gone already. And there's 21 million Bitcoin. So if you give that 1 million people, and I think a lot of the exchanges, a lot of Bitcoin was lost, there's about 21 million Bitcoin in active supply. But because so much of it was lost, we don't even know how much there is in that sense. And that's absolutely insane.
Of course, they could always put in 100K of their $1 million, but they're going to have to spend a lot of money on that, and they're not going to get much Bitcoin in that scenario. If everyone were to do that, the price would skyrocket up, obviously. So I hope you're following along. I hope that makes sense to you. There's just not a lot of Bitcoin to go around. You can look at all different ways, whether you want to look at millionaires buying or the average person buying. There's not much. Also, keep in mind that one of the ways that a lot of people get Bitcoin right now is mining. A lot of large entities get Bitcoin from mining, and then they go sell it or they keep it. But only about 41,000 Bitcoin will be mined globally between 2040 and 2044, barely over 15 years away. So seems like a lot of Bitcoin will be actually bought up. And I also feel over time, over the next 20, 30, 40 years, a lot of this Bitcoin is eventually going to be lost. I still know people sitting cash waiting for 2 to 60% dip in USD. The thing with Bitcoin, it's really not going to be printed anymore. And I think a lot of bigger exchanges are starting to realize that, like, once it's there, it's out. There's not going to be any of them. There's no reason to have any of these cryptocurrencies in that sense. So that's where I find the real excitement with crypto in that way. Like, there's going to be probably a ton of possibilities with crypto growing up. If there's not going to be any more to print it, because if you have the dollar, it's always going to be able to be printed more, and that's where I feel the big problem will lie. Like, people can just say, oh, you have crypto, well, that's cool. If you have the dollar, people can just say, oh, I'm just going to buy more of it. Why would I hold any of it? So there's the big potential. I feel like that's going to be a pretty big thing, and people are going to be excited about that in that sense. Money. Maybe it is. Maybe that is all that you need. But for most people, that's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough to retire. It is going to be better than the average person, though. People are going to look at you and think, oh, man, I should have bought that too. Like, if you knew someone...
I think that happened like a few years ago, as people were always saying, oh, I wish I got Bitcoin right now, but I did not. That sucks. It always happens. It's always the same story. I saw that in 2016. It happened with me. People wanted to really buy, and they ended up not buying, ended up missing out on huge price gains.
Someone that bought a piece of property for $400, then all of a sudden, 20 years later, it's worth $100 grand. Like, that's still a good buy. You just...
Same with real estate. People were saying, oh, I wish I bought real estate 10, 15 years ago. All these assets, they will end up growing, and Bitcoin is a possibly very fair bet. Now, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying you should buy it. But I'm saying that most people, they still haven't discovered about crypto. They have most likely discovered about stocks by now. So stocks are really priced in. That doesn't mean they won't go up, but that could mean that Bitcoin could outperform stocks like it did in the past. If you bought it in 2014, you're way, way richer than buying stocks in that sense. But it's also was way, way more risky.
Wish they kind of had bought more, right? So this is the scenario that we're talking about, right? You buy $400 today, it's worth 100 grand if Bitcoin hits $1 million. Keep in mind there's going to be a lot of inflation from here to then too. So that 100 grand maybe is really worth like 20.
So yeah, Bitcoin 100K is really inevitable. Look at this price hikes, it's just growing naturally. But also this, what he's shown is people like the big whales still aren't in here yet. Wallets with more than actual 1,000 Bitcoin is only 2,000 wallets. So this is the crazy part about me, is the wallets that have more than 10 Bitcoin, more than 400K, there's less than, millionaires. There's absolutely no millionaires here at all. And that's the exciting factor, really, where crypto has that potential to win in the long term, where I do feel like crypto will win. Because when we get like at least 1 million 10 Bitcoin holders, imagine the price bumps, imagine the skyrocketing, imagine the small supply that's going to be in the Bitcoin space. So there is going to be probably more people holding these small Bitcoin types, but I'm not even sure how many of these have been lost. Probably tons of these coins have been lost. The top 4 own the top 3%. The top 11% own, the top 100 owned 11%. So some people got in early, but we don't know how many of these actually ended up losing their wallets, ended up losing their crypto. It does happen. So that's the crazy part for me. But guys, like, this is how crypto is super early. You never know when the next bull run is going to hit, and people will start talking about it again like they did in 2021.
There's already not a lot of Bitcoin going around right now. This is the first cycle from 2020 to 2024 where we've seen the supply drop.
So yeah, seems like we are going to be having, like, Bitcoin really does come in cycles, and there's multiple cycles that make Bitcoin rise in a sense. So that's where the real excitement is. And that's what keeps everyone really awake at night.
The amount of Bitcoin coming to exchanges is not high enough to actually make the supply go up on exchanges. All the miners are selling. There are more buyers than sellers right now. That's what we've seen this year. Bitcoin.
So when there's usually more buyers than sellers, the supply ends up increasing, which is awesome. Michael Saylor is coming in and swooping up with 600 million buy of Bitcoin. So if there's no Bitcoin to buy, the net price naturally goes up. So if you guys want more content like this, be sure to smash that like button. I'll keep you guys updated with more news. Till next time, peace out, everyone.